Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talk. So I've been talking a lot about people, controlled opposition, and how certain organisations seem to me to have been set up to pretend to be alternative media when I think they all belong to the same crowd. And I felt, well, I would just explain what my idea of what controlled opposition is. And I want to use this analogy and a diagram to show you the way I think about these things. You may think this is obvious and not necessary, maybe so, and you can agree, you can disagree, but just so you understand where I'm coming from, the way I look at stuff. And I'm going to use this analogy of the farmer and his sheep. Now the farmer, think of the farmer as the establishment, the government, if you will, the control freaks, the puppet master who wants to mold society into whatever he wants, okay? So the farmer is the establishment. Now let's set this in the UK. It will be the same for any other country, but let's just say it's the UK. And the public, the 60 million people who inhabit the UK, the society, they are the sheep, okay? Now I'm not saying people are sheep, but just for the sake of the analogy, let's say they are sheep. Okay, 60 million sheep. Look at them all. Now the establishment, they want to create, the farmer, the establishment, they want to create a new world order. But to do this, the farmer, who is the establishment, needs to move the public, the sheep, he needs to coerce them through a gate and into the brand new world order field. Okay, so the farmer, the establishment, needs loads of well-trained sheepdog to herd the 60 million sheep through the gate into the new world order field. Now think of these great number of well-trained sheepdog as the mainstream media, okay, the fake stream media as I like to call it. That will be your BBC, your Sky News, your newspapers, the Daily Mail, all of that nonsense. And they will work in tandem with the farmer, who is the establishment, the government. They will work with them, receive orders. The sheepdog, the mainstream media, will receive orders from the farmer to herd these sheep, the public, through this gate. And these sheepdogs, the mainstream media platforms, just as in real farming, they have used fear stories, threats, aggressive scare tactics to get the sheep to move in the direction they want, coerce them by threatening them, coercing them with fear stories in the media. This is what the mainstream media will do. And if you look at the last 2 years, that is what they have done. They have worked with the establishment to scare the public and coerce them to accept lockdowns and everything else. And the farmer, the establishment, working with the numerous well-trained sheepdogs, managed to coerce, let's just say, 70% of the sheep, of the public, through that gate and into the New World Order field. But that leaves the problem of the 30% who are not scared by the media, who do not allow themselves to be coerced by the fear propaganda, who don't believe in what they're being told by these sheepdogs, these mainstream media, BBC, Sky News, etc. And that's where the controlled opposition come in. They are the wolves in sheep's clothing, or you could just say alternative media sheepdogs trained in a different way, because they have to approach that 30%, the resistant 30%, with different tactics. Yet the end goal is to still try and get them through that same initial gate. Now the people, the sheep, they have their lives, their own individual lives, where they have things going on. But if they want to know about what is happening outside of their personal space, what's happening across the country, across the world, well, the first stop is the mainstream media. And that's a curiosity they will always have, because people naturally want to know what is really going on. So in this diagram here, we have the truth in the center. Now the truth is very subjective. Or just think of the truth as, what is really going on? What's really happening? That's what people want to know. That's what they are trying to get to. They're trying to get to that center. But firstly, it's guarded by an outer wall. The mainstream media, fake stream media, outer black wall here, which, as I've already said, is populated by numerous mainstream platforms like the BBC, Sky News, ITV, Channel 4, newspapers like The Guardian, The Sun, a platform for every demographic, and stupid shows like GMB, Jeremy Vine Show, etc. All of these platforms are all joined together to form this circle, networked together, bound together, and they form a circle, the initial wall guarding the truth. They all work in tandem with the establishment. That's why they are regulated by government organisations like Ofcom, for example. And you'll notice they all push the same stories, the same so-called news, all at the same time on a day-by-day basis. And they have been doing this for a long time, okay? But in the last 2 years, the unification of these various platforms has been very clear to see. And the agendas they are all pushing have become very obvious. They all work as one to control the perception of the public and to control what they want the truth to be and to control the public's perception of what is really going on. So this outer wall is a networked collection of organisations that syndicate stories to different demographics of the public. And as we are saying in the analogy, these are the farmers, the establishment's sheepdogs, the media. And this is the first wall you come to. And 70%, for example, will be caught by the first wall and will be shepherded through the gate into the New World Order field that the establishment wants you to go into. That leaves the 30% who don't believe the mainstream media and are not scared or coerced by these sheepdogs. This is where the next wall or circle is built up. As you can see here, this is the red circle, a wall, again, to guard the truth or to control what's really going on. And that is the controlled opposition. And as I've said before, the more obvious ones are platforms like GB News and Talk Radio. But there are loads of different organisations and individuals that network together, that interweave and cross-promote one another in order to make this wall very strong and if possible, impenetrable. They are all interconnected, and just like the mainstream, they also promote the same stories at the same time. Now, getting back to the analogy, if you manage to not believe the mainstream media sheepdogs and you get through that first black wall, then you find yourself confronted with the controlled opposition red wall. But the farmer, the establishment, know that the original scare tactics, the fear propaganda of the mainstream media, if that didn't work, then a different strategy needs to be employed to get the remaining 30% through that gate into the New World Order field. So, I mean, if the sheepdogs of the mainstream media acting aggressively with fear stories didn't coerce you initially through that gate, it ain't gonna work this time. So new sheepdogs, new media is brought in, okay? So these new sheepdogs will come disguised as your friends. They won't run into the field and bark at you. They will say things that they think you will agree with. They want you to befriend them. They want you to follow them. They may tell you stuff that is true and comes from the centre they are guarding. They will even do this over a long period of time to engage you, to make you fully believe they are on your side, so that you begin to trust them. And then slowly, very slowly over time, they will attempt to lead you through the very same gate that the original mainstream media sheepdogs were trying to shepherd you through in the first place. And that's how I see it. These are wolves in sheep's clothing. The Fabian Society, on their coat of arms, there is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the reason for this is they say it's their preferred methodology for achieving its goal. So basically pretending to be on your side. But at some point, they always show their hand. And you know, you can disagree or agree with whatever I say now or in the future. But this is something to keep in mind and to keep your wits about you. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Okay? So yeah, that's the way I see it. Maybe this was already obvious to you, and sorry about that, but I just wanted to make this clear, and I hope it makes sense. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to hugotalks.com, and I'll see you later.